Today I'm going to show you a very small video, and this has to do with the Technicolor process and how I achieve this inside Fusion without any lookup tables, without any color matching whatsoever. Just kind of looking at the Technicolor 3-step camera and looking at the Prism and seeing where is this color coming from, this oversaturation. Well, in the 3-color process for Technicolor, here's a video from the ASC Museum that gives you a little bit more details on this back process and why the colors were so saturated. So let's go ahead and see this video here. And I'm going to move it forward. We're not going to watch the entire video. You can see it for yourself if you wish. But this is the most important key here. The two film strips here, the blue and red, were bipacked together, emulsion to emulsion, going up past the prism. Here's a better view of it here, of how it looked like inside the camera. So as you can see, this had a huge problem. It was a win and a problem at the same time. You needed strong lights to expose this film because the light loss on the prism was massive. We're talking massive. The film itself was between 5 ISO to 12, so imagine how much lights you needed. It was insane. So during the set, sometimes it would push up to 100 degrees in temperature. So this oversaturation of light that you needed for the compensation for the low ISO is what really defines Technicolor. It's not the dye transfer. It has something to do with it, but not fully. So here is the camera, a little bit more further view, so you can have a look at how the light entered the camera through the lens and then into the film stock. Now this film stock was black and white. There was no color. It was just black and white negatives. What they were doing is they were capturing the light intensity, the record of the light, so that way you can run it through filters after for printing purposes and then get your light back. So, having said that, let's take a look more here at the camera. And here's a view of the prism right in here. That's where the prism is housed. And I'm going to show you here another one here that's very important. It should be right here. This is an actual video of it in action, of being exposed through the gate. So now you can see how it actually worked. Now, why am I showing you this? That's because you need to know the camera first and how it worked before we move on to the next step. So, move on to here. Now we get into the juicy kind of things. As you can see here, now this view is much better. We can actually see what's going on here. The green filter for the green, magenta to pick up the light color that came in that went to the blue and red, but we couldn't contaminate it with green. So notice what they did here. There's a magenta filter here to stop the green record from going to those. On the green record, you have green. So only green goes in there. Down here, this is a little bit more different. This is a modern version of how we capture light on cameras. And that is a monochromatic sensor with a Bayer filter. Now, most of the prosumer and consumer line of cameras, that's what we all have on our phones, DSLRs, mirrors. You only find RGB, full red, green, and blue in advanced cameras and industrial stuff. You don't find it on the consumer side. Favion is well known with Sigma, but I mean, this is more high-end stuff, especially for video. So, having said that, now we move on and head over to the project. Now, I don't want to take up too much of time, but what we did here, it's simple. I looked at the prism and looked at the light loss. Now, more light was gathered on the green side of the record and less on the blue and red. Now, since the blue and red record were shared, the light was shared between them, it wasn't split, we have to treat them as one. So we'll go ahead and move ourselves over to the project, and we're going to start very quickly here. We have the green record negative, the blue record negative, we have the red record negative here. And then from there, we move over to the green negative positive. These are our steps. So I'll go at the top. We'll do the red, the green, sorry. And whatever we do to the green, we do to all the other negatives. Only up to this point, the black and white position. So green record negative. Let's go straight here. And go green negative positive. So we turn that into a positive. From there, we turn it into a black and white film. Now I'll put them on both sides so that way you can see it. And now I'm going to put this and that one there on that side. So you can see up to this point we're okay. And we're working on the left side here, just to let you know. On the right side, you see the brightness and contrast. Now, why are we adding this here? The reason why we're adding the brightness and contrast is to bring these levels down to the level that the prism was doing to the negatives, to the separations. So the blue side, the blue negative, after we transformed it, we got this. So as you can see, it is very different from the original black and white. It's worlds apart if you look at it. Now we go through the red separation. At the end of the red separation, we have that one and we have that one. Again, as you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm mimicking the prism. Now, what does that do to the overall color though, if we add the magenta, yellow, and cyan? So I'm going to go through here and put that on the right side for the magenta. Here we have the blue and the yellow. And then we have that one, the last one, the red separation, as the cyan. Okay. Now, what does this all have to do with each other now? Well, let's take a look. If we mix red and green, we should get our yellow. That's our print. And if we mix a final one, this is what it looks like with the apply motives difference. We get that one, and now we move on to our final CC. Now this is critical here. The dye transfer, okay, transfer the dye over to the prints with the reef. That's a little bit more of the secret. I don't want to put too much info here because I don't know if there's patents on this nonsense still, and we don't want to go anywhere near that stuff. I hate patents because of that stuff. So we'll just keep it strictly just a digital thing here. So on the blue and red, you notice that there's no changes. And remember what I mentioned before, that the red and blue shared the same light and they were bipacked. So the blue and red have absolutely no changes. You can't touch them. On the green, this is where the secret starts to creep in, because remember, the green had the most light. It had the most less of light loss. So that's the one we target. We need to modify that slightly. And then at the end, we do a final sweep of the colors, a final touch-up. And notice here that I have colors, highlights, better, RGB. There is nothing here. There's no levels, histogram. There's no midtones, no shadows, no master whatsoever. You barely have to touch this to get the colors. And if you can see the settings there, that's what I'm using. Blue and red go 0. They're stock because, again, they're bipacked. The green is the problem. And I did this before, and I had a problem where I couldn't get the colors right. Now, what I used here, it was a visual aid, was a print from a movie of this scene. And that's what I used. I did not use any color matching from Photoshop, any lookup tables whatsoever. Nothing like that. Just this. That's all we used. So we can get very close to the Technicolor print without all that. So it tells you that the prism was really the secret behind this all, because you needed massive lights in order to expose the film, because it was very slow speed film, 5, I believe, and up to 12. So you needed massive lights in order to expose these separations. So doing that in a digital representation, you notice that on the side here, on the right side, you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm mimicking that from the green to the blue and then to the red. I'm mimicking that loss. And when you mix it all together, you get your print. Now, is this 100% the color Technicolor in a intermediate? I think it's close. It's not 100%. I think it's very close. I've seen prints of it online, and the colors match very closely. So, again, I'm not using any color matching. I'm not using any lookup tables. You can see there's no nodes here. Now, what does this do for modern prints? We'll get to that right now. This will be the final piece of this. The issue is okay, who cares about a 1939 film? We know what it looked like. But what about modern stuff? Well, we have here a panoramic shot that I shot in Portugal in 2011, and this is a series of 40 pictures, I believe. That's how many I took from side to side. And this was before I even got into the panoramic stitching software. So having said that, we're gonna go look here and give you the final one and the main one here, so you can see the difference. Okay, now we have them both lined up here. Now I used the same procedure I did for the Wizard of Oz. I took these separations here, the brightness and contrast, and put them in here and use that. This is the end result. Now I'm going to put in at 25%. And remember, this is a JPEG, it's not RAW, so it's not that high-end quality. However, let's just see the difference. Now, I'm not an expert on pictures or color, but I can tell you that it is worlds apart between one and another. The detail that you get out of the picture based on color manipulation alone, without doing any grain, degraining, nothing. There is no note here for that. There's nothing here. That's all I did. I took those nodes from the brightness and contrast of mimicking the Prism from the Technicolor 3-strip camera and added it here. This is what you get. So it's a major difference because the detail that you get out of it, because of the color separations, you're breaking those colors up and changing them instead of just doing a whole rearrangement over the colors at the same time. Now in Photoshop, you get more detail in this. You have more things you can do. However, I wanted to do this in a strictly film and video mode, so you can take your footage, for example, bring it in here, and apply this. And I'm going to fit this at, just give me maybe 15%. Yeah, 15% is okay. And do that to the same side here as well at 15%. And there you go. So we can safely say that this method works. It brings out color highlights. It brings out more detail in the picture versus the other one. This is stock. It's a stock image. It hasn't been manipulated by Photoshop. It's straight off a Canon 60D. If you need to know the camera model, that's it. We'll go to fit and bring it all back. And that's what it looks like. Thank you for watching the video. I hope this helped you understand a little bit more of how the Prism of the Technicolor 3-strip camera actually was the real secret of this thing. Because the dye transfer is important, we know that. But the dye transfer wasn't everything to the it was the camera that was actually the secret. Separating RGB, in my opinion, is how all cameras should operate. Whether it's a picture camera still or video. But of course we use the Bayer pattern and we interpolate colors, and that's why we don't get perfect colors and don't have perfect colors because of that. It works. Yes, it's cheap, but you cannot deny the fact that 3-strip and doing the separation separate for RGB is still, to me, in my opinion, the better way of getting color. Go back over here to that one, and we'll do the 25 again. And at 25%, you can really see that it's just night and day. There's just no way to compare these two pictures. Thanks for watching, and take care.